Hello students, welcome to today's lecture series on AGM 311, Introduction to Farm Mechanization Study Section 2. The title of today's study section is Workshop Tools. Introduction. Agricultural engineering workshop comprises of wood workshop and metal workshop. These tools are commonly used in these workshops for various farm machines including hand tools, saw, plane, grinding and sharpening angles, and these tools are used for specific purposes. The various types of workshop tools used in agricultural workshop are discussed in this study section. Learning outcome for study section 2. On completion of this study section, you should be able to state different types of hand tools and their uses, describe various workshop and building materials used on the farm. Workshop hand tools. Workshop hand tools are tools that are powered by the hand rather than the motor or electric. Examples of workshop hand tools are chisel, files, scribers, old leg calipers, dividers, punches, screwdrivers, allen keys, hacksaw, protractors, inside and outside caliper, vernier calipers, and micrometer screw gauge. The sketches drawing of each of these hand tools are given along their uses are discussed over the next few slides. Chisel. Chisels are used to cut cold metals for smoothing and chiseling that include cutting grooves for making keyways, making slots in the shafts. Then we also have files. Files are used for sharpening edges of metals. They are also useful for removing small amount of metals by rubbing the teeth of the file against the metals. We have scribers and dividers. Scribers are used for making straight lines on metals, while dividers are used for marking cycles and curves, and it's also used in transferring measurements from one point to another. We also have screwdrivers and allen keys. Screwdrivers are used for driving screws into or out of structured members. There are two main groups. We have the general purpose screwdrivers and we have the electrician screwdrivers. The general purpose screwdrivers are of three types. We have the flat, we have the star screwdrivers, and we have the allen keys. Allen keys are used for tightening or loosening screws that have hexagonal hole on their head. Next hand tools that we'll be looking at is the steel rule and hacksaw. Steel rules are useful for ruling straight line, testing straight edges, and testing flat surfaces, while the hacksaw is used on the farm for cutting metals with minimum waste to ensure that the edges does not bend or distort. Then we have the inside and outside calipers. The inside calipers are used to measure the inside dimension of an object, such as the inside diameter of a hole. The dimension should be within the capacity of the caliper. The outside caliper is used to measure the outside dimension of an object within its capacity, such as the outside diameter of a round bar. Workshop and building materials used on the farm. An ideal farm workshop has various sections such as service area, including a pit, welding unit, electrical unit, battery charging unit, and store for keeping tools and spare parts. The equipment available on the farm for various works will determine the workshop tools for repair and maintenance. Then let's talk about the building on farm land. Buildings for farm workshop must have iron columns, walls, and roof. Buildings are necessary on the farmland for the following purposes. It serves as a dwelling place for the farmers. It serves as a dwelling place also for the livestock such as pigs, goats, and cattle. Then also for crop production, it serves as a house where harvested crops are placed. Farm workshop and building materials are classified as metal or metal, that is, the structures used in building the farm house can be metallic or non-metallic in nature. Metallic building materials. Building materials that are metallic are mainly categorized into two groups, such as ferrous and non-ferrous metals. Example of ferrous metals are cast iron, malleable cast iron, wrought irons. An example of a non-ferrous metal are copper, brass, bronze, aluminium, zinc, and so on. The property of these non-ferrous metals are not considered here, but attention is given to their uses. For example, we have copper, which is a non-metallic, which is a non-ferrous materials. Copper is used in electrical installation in workshop and farm buildings. We also have brass, which is used for making pipe, instrument parts, and fittings. We also have bronze, which is an alloy of copper and tin, which is useful in bearing springs and pipe fittings. We also have aluminium or white metals, as it is fondly called. It's used for coating chemical tanks and for light casting. We also have zinc, which is used mostly as a coating on the sheet iron, and die casting as a protection against corrosion. Non-metallic building materials. Example of non-metallic building materials are wood, rubber, leather, vegetable fibers, and plastic. Wood is particularly useful for building construction as frame for doors, windows, roofing planks. Wood used for structural purposes is called lumber. Then we have rubber. Rubber is used in belts such as wheel belts and insulation of wires. Wheel belts are useful in power transmission of electric motor mounted on workshop buildings for various purposes. We also have leather, which is largely a belting materials. Then we also have vegetable fibers, which are useful as upholstery padding. Then last we have plastic, which are used for seed hoppers, chemical tanks, and water storage tanks in farm buildings. Thank you for listening.